So hello and welcome. This is part 2 of Adobe Animate CC 2021 tutorial, and I already created part 1 and I'm going to provide the link in the description. And if you didn't see part 1, you can go ahead and watch it, but it doesn't matter. You can easily follow along in this tutorial because right now we are going to be talking about the different topics. So maybe you can watch this one, and if you like this one, you can later on go to the part 1. Very briefly, I would like to just show you what we learned in the part 1. So we were talking about the shapes, about the rectangle, that you can create a rectangle like this. Then you can create another rectangle like this, for example, and then it is going to cut from the rectangle like this. We were talking about the pre-transform tool, that you can scale your shapes, rotate them, and so on. We talked about the difference between rectangle and rectangle primitive. We talked about the pen tool. Then we talked about the paint bucket tool. And we talked about the timeline, how you can add keyframe, how you can remove keyframe, difference between keyframe and frame, and so on. We also talked a little bit about timeline in the timeline and how you can animate objects, how you can convert them to the symbol, and so on. So if you want to watch the first one, the link is going to be in the description. In this tutorial, I would like to focus on two topics, and one of them is aligning, and second of them is importing from the Illustrator. This one is going to be a little bit shorter than the first one, and later on in part 3 and part 4 we will be talking a little bit more about timeline and animation, and also about the publish settings. So right now I am going to create some kind of rectangle like this, and I need only the fill, so I'm going to get rid of the stroke like this, and I can choose some other color like so. So I'm going to do something like this. I can hold Shift to stay proportional. And now I will go to the selection tool. I will click on the shape. And in here, you should have an align. And if for whatever reason you don't see align or anything that I have in here, you can go to the window and you can get it in here. Okay, so for example, align is in here. I can do it like so. Okay, so if I click on the align, I can align this to the left, to the middle, to the right, to the top, bottom, and so on. So this is pretty simple. Now what you can do is I am going to scale this. So I will go to the pre-transform tool, shortcut is Q, and I'm going to scale this down. And I'm going to move this to the left. You can hold Alt or Option and drag, and this is going to duplicate this. If you are going to hold Shift, it is going to stay on the same line. And I'm going to do this a few times, like this. Okay? And right now, if I'm going to select all of them, and I will go to the Align, you can see at the bottom, there is this Align to Stage, and this is checked. And right now, if I'm going to choose this Distribute Horizontal, it is going to distribute them evenly from each other, but this one on the left is going to go on the edge of the canvas. This one is going to also go on the edge of the canvas, and these two in the middle are going to be distributed in between. So check if I click this, and it is going to be like so. I will go back, and if I uncheck this Align to Stage, like so, and I'm going to distribute like this, this and this is going to stay on the position, and only these two in the middle are going to be distributed. One thing to keep in mind is, like, if you unclick this Align to Stage, and right now I would like to get this one, and I would like to align this to the left, like so, it is not going to be working because this is unchecked. So you may find yourself in the position that this doesn't work, and it is because this Align to Stage is not clicked. So this was very simple. And I would like to continue, and I'm going to delete this. And I would like to show you rulers and guides and so on, because I think that it's pretty important to know this stuff if you want to create something that is going to be aligned. So you can go to the view and you can choose rulers. There is the shortcut Ctrl-Alt-Shift-R, but you can easily find it in here, like so. So you are going to have rulers like this, and you can go in here on the ruler and drag, and you can get your ruler like so. If you want to put your ruler on the specific position, what you can do is go to the selection tool, and while you are on the selection tool, you can double click. And now this is going to give you an option to put this on the position. And this is the X position. And if I put this on the 0, and I'm going to hit OK, it is going to go on the position 0. Keep in mind that if you are going to be on the pre-transform tool, your mouse is going to look the same as if you are on the selection tool. But if you are on the free transform tool, this double click is not going to be working. So make sure that you are on the selection tool if you want to change the position. Right now my canvas in here is 800 by 800, and imagine that I would like to get this guide to the middle. So what I can do is type in here 400, like so, and I'm going to hit OK, and right now this is going to be in the middle. And I can do the same from the top, like this, double click, and this one is going to be also 400, like so. And right now I have a guide which is going to be exactly in the center. Okay, I will go to the view, and there is this option snapping. And there are some options, and you can in here see snap to guide is checked. So I can go ahead and click on it, and it would uncheck it. So if you don't have this checked, you can just click on it, and you will see that it is going to be checked. Okay, let me zoom in a little bit, like so. And the funny thing about the Adobe Animate is that it is going to snap your shape on the position where you are holding the shape. Okay, I will show you because maybe this doesn't make sense. I'm going to click on the shape and I'm going to drag it. And you can see maybe this little dot in the center. And if I click on the shape while my mouse is on the left side of the shape, you are going to see a little dot on the left. And if I'm going to click on the right, you are going to see it on the right. And the thing is that imagine that right now I'm not going to align it to the center, but I would like to align it on this line. I'm going to click on the center, and I would like to align this right side. But this is, you don't see it maybe, but it's not aligning for me, okay? I'm just moving and it doesn't snap. But if I go with center, it will snap. You need to try this for yourself in order to feel it, but I will go close and it will snap to the center because I'm holding my shape at the center. But if I want to align this side in here, what I can do is click on this side like so. This is going to give me a dot in there, and now this is going to be snapping this side. You can see that it's not going to snap this side. I would have to get it like so, and it's not working. So only this side right now is going to be snapped. Okay. If I am going to get the corner, I will be able to snap to the corner. Okay. And if I want to snap this side, I would have to click on this side and like so. So this is pretty untypical, but I think that it's pretty cool, but it can be a little bit confusing if you don't know about this. So there is something like this, and I think that is good to know. You can go to the view, to the guides, and you can choose edit guides. In here you can also click show guides and hide guides. For example, if you have, let me cancel this. If you have many of the guides and you would like to temporarily hide them, you can go to the view, to the guides, and you can edit guides and show them and hide them. There is also option to change the color of the guides, so you can go ahead and change it to whatever color you want. You can also lock the guides, so it means that you won't be able to change the position of the guides. And then there is an option to snap accuracy, and must be close means that you must be close to the guide in order to snap it. Normal is normal, and can be distant means that you can be more distant from the guide and it is going to snap. I can click on this, I can click OK. I will click on the shape on the left, and I was in here and it's snapped. So you can have a little bit more distance, but I think that it explains what it does, so that's fine. Okay, now you can delete your guides by clicking clear guides, like so. This is going to get rid of all of them, or you can do it one by one by just clicking on the guides and dragging it like so. Alright, fine. I will go to the view, I will go to the grid, and I'm going to click on the show grid. And right now I'm going to have a grid like this. This is not very useful if it's like so. So you can go to the view, to the grid, and edit grid. And again, you have an option to change the color of the grid, like so. You can change the size of the grid. So I can go with maybe 50 pixels by 50 pixels, or you can go with any number that you want. And this kind of grid, when it is bigger, can be, in my opinion, a little bit better. There is this option, show over objects. Now you can see that we have our object and the grid is below. I can click this, and right now the grid is going to be visible on the object, and we can click snap to grid. We want to have this, so like this. And I don't want this show over object, so I'm going to unclick this and I'm going to hit OK. You can save this as a default, but no, there is no need. And there is one more option in here, which is always snap. That means that you won't be able to position your object. You know, you are always going to be snapped, like so. So that's about the grid. And I can edit it. I can put this back to the normal, or can be distant. This can be distant. I think it's fine if you have a hard time of snapping, but we can keep this on the normal. Okay, so like this. I will go to the view, I will go to the grid, and I'm going to unclick this show grid because we do not need it. Okay, fine. One thing that I want to show you is that in the first tutorial we were talking about symbols. So if you want to animate something, you will have to convert it to the symbol. And you can do it by going to the modify, going to the symbol, modify and convert to symbol. Or the shortcut is F8, like so. And I can call this to be blue shape, for example. And I'm going to click OK. And right now, I lost my option to change the color, because if I click on the shape, I see only movie clip and so on. And if I want to change the color, I would have to go inside of the shape. And you can see in here that I have scene 1 and nothing else. But if I double click on the shape, I'm going to have scene 1 and blue shape. Okay? And the reason why I am talking about this right now is that if you are on the main timeline, on the scene 1, and you want to align something, you can go to the align tool and you can align to the left and so on, as I showed you before. Okay? But if I will position this somewhere here, and I'm going to double click, And right now I am in the scene 1 in the blue shape. And I'm going to click on the align, and I will try to align this. It is not going to work as expected, and it is going to be aligning this in the strange way. Okay, so just to keep this in mind. And also one more thing is that I will go to the scene 1, and again in the scene 1 we are able to align this to the center. Okay, but one thing, let me actually delete this. I will also delete it from the library, like so. And I'm going to do this one more time because I want to show you something. I can change the color to the red, like so. So I will create a shape like this. I am going to align this to the center, like so. And right now I'm going to hit Q for the pre-transform tool, and I'm going to rotate this. And I will hold Shift, and it is going to be rotating like so because the anchor point is in the middle. Okay, the anchor point is the point around which this is going to be rotated. Okay, right now I will click, and I will go to the modify, and I'm going to convert this to the symbol, and I can keep this name symbol 1 for now. It's okay. And still my anchor point is in the center. So Q, and I can rotate it, and it's working fine. But if I'm going to go and double click inside, and I'm going to position this somewhere else, in here, if I hit Q, it has anchor point in the center. So I could go ahead and rotate it inside in here like so. But if I click back to scene 1, and you can go to scene 1 by clicking on the scene 1 or just double click anywhere else. And right now anchor point is still in the center. And right now if I try to rotate, it would rotate around like so. So just keep in mind that if you are going to move your objects inside of them, the anchor point may go away. You can drag the anchor point to the center if you want, but keep in mind that something like this can happen. Right now I would like to show you how you can import your graphics from the Illustrator. Because usually I don't do my graphics in the Adobe Animate, and I also don't do them in the Illustrator. Usually I download my illustrations, maybe from sites like freepik or maybe Shutterstock and so on. But I would like to talk about this, about the ways how to import them, because I think that it's pretty important and crucial to know. Okay, so right now I will go to the site freepik, and I'm going to download some vectors. You do not need to do this. I'm going to provide a link for this in the description, and I'm also going to provide you some vector in the description to download. But I just want to show you that you can go like this to the site like freepik. You can click download, or you can go with premium if you want, or you can go with pre-download. In the pre-download you will have to attribute the author, but you can save your zip file like this. I'm not going to do this because I did it, so I will hit cancel. I will go to my place where I save this. I am going to hit extract here. This will give me some options, and I'm going to double click on this APS file, and it is going to open me this in the Illustrator. So here I am, and this is not tutorial about the Illustrator, it's about the Adobe Animate, but anyway I will for a few minutes have to show you. When you download some vectors from the freepik, they can look different. Sometimes they are grouped together, sometimes there is something called clipping mask, and in this case, in here, they are not grouped together, so everything is separated. So we can get few of this and get them to the Adobe Animate. So in here I have layers. If you don't see layers, you can go to the window and get your layers. But don't worry, I am going to provide the end of the product that we will create in here in the description for the download. But I want to lock the layer 2, so the background that I can't change, or I can go ahead and delete it. It doesn't matter. Yes. And as I said, these vectors, they are not grouped together. So what I want to do is just select it like so and hit Ctrl G. And right now this is going to be grouped together. I can get also this one. So I'm going to do it like so, Ctrl G. And maybe I'm going to get this one like so, and I'm going to hit Ctrl G. I will create a new document in Adobe Illustrator, so Ctrl N. And I would like to go with 800 by 800 pixels. This is the same as we have in the Adobe Animate. There is no need to do it the same, but I wanted to do it like so. And I will drag this one in there. And I will also get this one. With Shift, I'm going to select this one, and I'm going to drag them in here. Okay. They are pretty big, so I can select all of them, and I can scale them down like so, like this. Okay. So right now we have 3 vectors, and we would like to import them to the Adobe Animate. So I will go to the Adobe Animate. I will get rid of this shape. I do not need it. And I will go to the library. And because I converted this to the symbol, I am going to have a symbol in the library. So I want to delete it. So we don't have anything in the library and we don't have anything on the stage. So I will go to the Illustrator and I can go with this one. So I'm going to just drag this and I will go to the Adobe Animate and I am still holding my mouse. You can see this plus sign and I'm going to leave the mouse. This can take few seconds, maybe a little bit more if the vector is complex, but window like this should appear. And there are basically 2 options. Paste as bitmap. This would paste this as an image and you wouldn't be able to change anything, or paste using AI file import and preferences. And if you check this, there are going to be 2 options. Apply recommended import settings. Definitely we want to have this. And mate and layers. We want to have this. And I will show you later on what this means. But right now I will just click OK. And I'm going to have something like this imported in Adobe Animate. When you have a symbol or when you have groups, and this is grouped together, if you want to get the individual parts, you will have to double click. So I will go to the properties. So right now if I click, you can see that this is group and we are in the scene 1. I will double click and we are in the scene 1 in the group. And right now I can click on this one and I can move it, or I can click on the phone and I can move it, and I can easily change the color if I want. Okay. And if you want to go back, you can just click on the scene 1. And right now, if I go to the library, I don't have anything in the library, but I can select this. I can go to the modify. I can go convert to symbol, and I can call this to be phone. And I'm going to hit OK. And right now we are going to have a phone in the library. And I know that right now I was talking about importing from the Illustrator. Now I want to little bit talk about the symbol, and then later on we will continue importing from the Illustrator. What I want to show you right now is that once you have something in the library, I can go ahead and delete this from the stage, and it is going to stay in the library. So I can go to the library and import it back. Okay, and I can import this many times. Okay, the thing is that this is good for the memory of the file that we are going to produce, because right now when you duplicated this from the library, when it is symbol, imagine that every shape has some kind of memory, and if you duplicate this as many times as you want, the memory is going to be calculated only once. It's not going to be calculated 5 times. Okay, but the disadvantage of this is that if you go ahead and double click on this one, for example, and you will go to the properties, and I will have to double click one more time to get inside, and I will change the color to blue. All of them are going to be changed to blue. Okay. But I will go back, and now you can see that right now I am in the scene 1. If I double click, I am in the phone, because that's the name that we created, and if I double click one more time, then I am in the group. But I will go back to the phone. I can click on the phone and it will get me back there. Or I can go to the scene 1. You can hit Q, and you can change the scale of any of these, and it is not going to affect other ones. But if you, as I said, change the color of any of them, it is going to affect all of them. Okay. One thing that we can do is in the library, I can hit duplicate. It is in here, and I can call this to be phone 2, like so. Hit OK, and right now, let me go back to the scene. I'm going to drag phone 2 in here, and if I double click on the phone 2 one more time, and I will change the color of this one, it is not going to affect the other ones. But right now, this is the separate symbol, and this symbol is going to be calculated once for the file size, and this is going to be calculated the second time. Okay, fine. I'm going to get rid of all of them, and I'm going to continue to import from the Illustrator. Now I'm going to import this one more time, but this time I'm going to import this as a bitmap. So I'm going to click on the bitmap. I will click OK, and right now, if I double click, I can't do anything. And the thing is that right now this is image, this is PNG, or it can be JPEG, but this is not, you cannot edit this. And you can ask yourself, like, is there a reason why you would like to do this? And the thing is, yes. And for example, if you have vectors which are pretty complex, I can show you. I can go to the freepik, and maybe something like coffee. I was working with something like this, and for example, this one, this is vector, and it is. You can see that it is pretty complex vector, and maybe not this exact example, but sometimes it can happen that the shape as a vector is too complicated, and Adobe Animate is going to have a hard time to work. Okay, so if you have really complicated shapes, then maybe, and you do not want to edit them, you can edit them into Illustrator and paste them as a bitmap. Okay, but one thing we can continue like so is, I will go back and I will delete this one, and I will delete everything in here. And one thing that I didn't show you, right now in the Adobe Animate, our library is empty. But if I am going to, I will go like this, and I will paste this as a vector, my library is going to stay empty, okay? Unless I will modify this as a symbol, my library is not going to have anything. But if I import this as an image, like so, paste as bitmap, it is automatically going to import this to the library as an image, like so. Okay, and if you delete this from the library, it is also going to be deleted from the stage. The same works with the symbols, with the movie clip. One thing is that if you are going to select all of them, and you can go like this in here, you can again choose if you want a bitmap or you want a vector. And if I choose vector and I will hit OK, I am going to have them like so, separated. I can click on this one, I can change the color, and everything is going to work fine. So you can import as many vectors at the same time as you want. But you see that they are on the layer 1, and all of them are on the same layer. One thing that you can do if you want to put all of them to the separated layer is you can highlight it like so, and you can right click and you can choose distribute to layers. And right now if I click this, I am going to have 3 layers and all of them are going to be on the separated layer. There is possibility that you are going to have one more empty layer, but you can just delete that one. Okay. Again, I am going to delete this. My library is empty, fine, and I will go back to the Illustrator and I'm going to select and drag them one more time, but this time I'm going to paste this as a bitmap. I will click OK, and the issue is that right now this whole thing is going to be one bitmap, so I cannot even change individual position of them because this is one image. So if you are importing as a vector, you can do multiple at the same time. But if you would like to import this as a bitmap, you would have to go one by one. All right, fine. One more thing that I want to show you that right now we have layer 1 and we have everything in the one layer. And as I said, this is not tutorial about Illustrator, but I will have to do this, but I'm going to provide these files in the description. But what I want to do is I'm going to, I do not actually need to select it. I will go to the layer 1, I will click on the layer 1, and in here you can see that there are three lines. You can click this, and there is an option release to layer sequence. So I'm going to click this, and it is going to put me layers like so, and I will have to select them and drag them out. And now I have 3 or 4 layers, and like so. And you can, this one is going to be empty because that's the layer which contains everything, but then we get everything away and it stayed empty. I will delete it, and now we have 3 layers. Okay, if you didn't get it, watch it one more time. As I said, this is not tutorial about Illustrator, but we have 3 layers. And right now, if I go ahead and select it like so, and I'm going to drag this to the Adobe Animate. Let me go back like this because I would like to delete these layers, so I have only one layer in the Adobe Animate, so you can see this. So in the Adobe Animate we have one layer, but I am going to drag them now when they are in the layers in the Illustrator like so. I want to paste using these vectors, and right now I am going to have them in the separated layer. Okay, I'm going to have them as they are in the Illustrator. Okay, so I am going to delete it, and there are a few things that I would like to show you. So I will go back to the Illustrator, and you can drag directly from the Illustrator. But what you can do if you have a much more complex canvas in the Illustrator is you can save this. So let me hit Ctrl S, and I will save this to my place. Okay, so I am going to create a new folder, which I am going to call Illustrator. Maybe I will misspell it, I don't know. And I will call this to be icons layers, for example. And I'm going to hit save. I will just hit OK. And I will have in my folder Illustrator file. Okay. So what I can do is I can drag this Illustrator file in the Adobe Animate. And again, what you can do is just drag this like so. Okay. And this is going to give you some options, and I would like to talk about this. So in here, we have an option to select all layers. And there are these arrows, and we can click on the arrow and we can close it. So in Adobe Illustrator, we have 3 layers, and right now we have an option to select the layers. So I can uncheck this, and I can choose which layers I want, but we want all of them. And if you open this, this is just every shape is containing some other shapes, additional and so on, but that's not important. The main thing is that in here we have 3 layers. This means that we are selecting all of them. In here we have option converse layer to animate layers, single animate layer or keyframes. We want to have animate layers because we want to have them on the separated layer. So like this. There is option to import as a single bitmap image. We do not want to have this. Import unused symbols, that's nothing. And the last thing is set stage size to the same as Illustrator artboard. So right now my Adobe is 800 by 800 and Illustrator is also 800 by 800. So this doesn't mean anything right now. But if your Animate would be like 600 by 400 and your Illustrator is bigger, this is an option that your Animate is going to change the settings based off the Illustrator. But that's up to you, but I think that this makes sense. In here, I have some kind of warning, incompatibility report, and if I click on this, this writes me that this Illustrator document uses the SMIC. SMIC is like for the printing, and RGB is red, green, blue. And this is, I don't know right now the English names, but it doesn't matter. Animate is going to convert this to the RGB. So I am going to hit import, and it is going to import them like so, and they are going to be on the separated layers. And very similarly, you can drag from the Photoshop, and you can save the PSD file, and you can import the PSD file. There are some issues. For example, if you drag text from the Photoshop, it is not going to be text in the Adobe Animate, but only shape. But those are some kind of details, and I can't go through all of the stuff. Okay, so I'm going to just delete them like so. And a few more things is I will go to my folder in here, and I have this one image, and that's just logo of Adobe Animate, and I'm going to provide that in the description. And you can just drag the image like so, and this is PNG, and you can get the image to the Adobe Animate like so. And one thing for you to know that in the Photoshop, if you scale your image down and then up, it is going to lose the quality. But in here, you can scale this down like so. I will click away, and then later on I would like to scale this up, and it is not going to lose any of the quality. Okay, I will delete this. I will delete all of my layers. And one way how to import is to drag. Another option is go to the file, go to the import, and let me actually go to the library and delete again everything from the library so you can see. So I will go to the file, I will go to the import, and I have an option import to stage, which is going to directly import to the stage, or import to the library, which is not going to put the image or anything to the stage, but it will only put it to the library. So I will hit import to the stage, and let me go in here, and I'm going to choose this one, and it is going to import this to the stage, but also to the library. Okay, let me delete this from the stage and also from the library, and if you go to the file, import, and import to the library, and I'm going to hit open, it will import this to the library. It won't import to the stage, and then you can get it from the library to the stage when you want. And as I said before, if you have something in the library like this, and you are going to delete it, it will also delete this in the stage. Okay, let me go back, and what I was saying before, right now with the image, this may be a little bit better. Imagine that this file has some I will say 100 kilobyte. I don't know how many, I can go ahead and check. It has 19 kilobytes, okay? And right now Adobe Animate is going to have file size 19 kilobytes more than it would have without the image. But if I'm going to duplicate this as many times as I want, and this one can be bigger, this one can be smaller, and so on. Now I'm not going to have 57 kilobytes, but I'm going to have only 19 kilobytes. Okay? Oh, not really. This would be like so. If I go and convert this to the symbol, and I will call this to be a logo. Sorry, I made a mistake. So if you are going to duplicate this, I will delete this. If you are going to duplicate the symbol as many times as you want, this is going to still be only 19 kilobytes. Okay, I will delete this. But if you are going to get it as an image and multiple times as an image, right now it would be 57 kilobytes. So that's why it's also good to use symbols to reduce the file size. Okay, and I'm going to delete all of them. Okay, maybe I'm going to end in here because I do not want to create these tutorials to be too long. And I know that in this tutorial we didn't do much, we didn't do any animation or anything, but I think that it is pretty crucial to know how to import the stuff from the Illustrator to the Adobe Animate and how you can do this properly. And I also think that knowing how to align, especially when you have to click on the left side to align on the left, is also crucial to know. So I'm going to create part 3, and in the part 3 I would like to talk about the little bit more advanced timeline, a little bit more advanced animations, timelines in the timeline. I touched it in the first tutorial, but I would like to go a little bit deeper inside of that. And then maybe in the part 4, I will see how many parts I will create. We can talk about the publish settings, because there is option publish settings and there are many options: loop timeline, make responsive, image settings, and so on and so on. So I'm going to hit cancel, but there are many other things in the Adobe Animate. And later on, also I want to create more about JavaScript in the Adobe Animate. So I'm going to provide what I can provide in the description. And thank you very much for watching. If you like this video or you want to subscribe, go ahead. I am going to be thankful. If you have any question, suggestion, or anything, you can leave it in the comment. If you watch until the end, you can write in the comment that you watched it until the end. That would mean much to me. But yeah, hopefully you learned something, and hopefully I will see you in the next tutorial. Take care. Goodbye.